Hello and welcome to another... Well, this episode's off to a great start. Hello and welcome to another episode of CineBeards. I am your host, Jason with me?
Wow.
Jason with... How did I mess up my own name?
Wow.
Well, this is really off to a good start.
No, it isn't. This is off to a bad start. It's a Jewish sarcasm. Okay, let's do it. Do it. Come on.
Hello and welcome to
No more false starts. Just gold. Come on, Jason. Stop fucking up the intro.
Welcome and hello to Jason time. Blooper reel.
I'm dying here.
Alright. Come on.
Fuck. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Overopinionate. Fuck. Hello. Hi, Jason.
Let's just roll with it.
This is real fucking. Hello and welcome to another episode of the CineBeards Overopinionated Movie Cast. I am your host, Jason Musicanth. With me, as always, are Marcus Knafe
Who likes coffee?
and Dion van Heerden.
Who also likes coffee?
Today, we're going to be talking about the works of a widely known director.
Venerated.
That's the one.
He's just done so many movies.
Oh, sorry, not venerated, venereal.
Been working since the late 60s,
I thought it was the 50s, but okay.
Yeah, I
late
think the
60s.
50s.
I believe.
I believe too, Jason. But when's he been working since?
I believe.
I believe in a thing called love. And I also believe that this man, I can't believe all the things he's done.
Yeah, no, he's...
I mean, he's a cinematic chameleon.
A cinematic chameleon, yeah. Late 60s he's been working.
Nice. Wow.
His first film came out, I think, 1969.
Oh, that is the funniest number. It's got 19
Nice.
in it.
In case you guys haven't gotten down, because this is a super famous director that everybody should know, Alan Smithee.
Yep.
Alan Smithee.
Alan Smithee.
Sometimes pronounced as Elaine Smithee.
Yeah. By Utter Pillix.
For those of you that don't know, Alan Smithee is a pseudonym used by directors when they want to distance themselves from a project for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, movie was shit, some kind of tragedy happened on set. Bless your
Podcast is sneezing.
Podcast is sneezing. I'm
putting-
distancing myself from this one. This one was edited by Alan Smithee.
And I mean, it's also used in the cases where the director's name is Alan Smithee.
Yeah, which was hilarious.
That would be a hilarious turn of events.
That would be amazing.
It's also used by writers, editors, basically anybody who wants to distance themselves from a project and can legitimize why they should not have their names on it to the Council of Grey.
Yeah. Great.
Actually,
Hollywood.
the Directors Guild of America.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, they answer to Graham, so,
Yeah.
cut out the middleman.
exactly. Go straight to the top. We're Jewish. Well, I'm Jewish. You guys are Jewish. That's
I'm
no
Jewish
serious.
by proxy.
Are we? Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Mazel tov.
Yeah, so Alan Smithee first came about, I think it was 1968 is the earliest movie credited to him.
Correct.
But the first movie that his name was actually put on, like released with his name, was 1969. A movie by the name of
Death of a Gunfighter.
Death of a Gunfighter, yes.
That sounds like an extraordinarily good film. Why would someone want to distance themselves from it? Jason?
Well, what happened with Death of a Gunfighter is the lead actor was a bit of a dick.
Alright.
And he tried to take control of the movie, and he didn't like the way the director was going with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he essentially got that director fired, and a new director came on, who also was kind of strong-armed by said leading man.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, both directors had filmed about half, and neither of them wanted their names on it. They said, no, he filmed just as much, put his name on it.
Mm.
And they took this disagreement then to the Directors Guild of America.
Mm-hmm. To
And-
Graham Hollywood himself.
Yeah,
yes.
to Graham Hollywood himself. And they kind of argued their case that neither of them should be on this movie.
Yeah.
Neither of them should be credited.
Yeah.
And they instead then gave it to the pseudonym Alan Smithee.
Mm.
And weirdly enough, the movie didn't go down that badly.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan Smithee got a little bit of praise in the reviews.
Oh,
This new up-and-coming director, Alan Smithee.
Yeah.
well, that backfired.
yeah.
Well, he had a meteoric rise, and then it's just downhill from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The thing is, also, I just want to put in a quick factoid here. The reason the Directors Guild of America decided on Alan Smithee was because it sounded generic enough, that it's sort of pedestrian enough that no one would really, they would just see Alan Smithee and not think twice about it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go like, oh, I wonder what else he's made, or it's supposed to sound like just your average Joe name.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Alan Smith.
It
but
was
then,
actually
like,
originally
people existed with that name.
Yeah, and then also Average Joe they went with, but that ended up being too transparent and literal.
Yeah. So then after having seen what Universal then did with Robert Totten and Dan Siegel's movie, Paramount then allowed Judd Taylor, the director of the movie from the previous era, Fade In or Iron Cowboy, depending on where you are. They saw that and they're like, okay, we can just put Alan Smithee on here and we can release this movie that we put in lockup because it was so bad.
Nice.
Yeah, with Fade In, the movie was so terrible that Paramount put it away in like a secret vault of badness.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And it was only released.
Isn't
like,
that the vault where they
years
kept
later.
Citizen Kane as well?
No, that's...
Because, I mean, that's just a bad
No,
movie.
that's the arc they open in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So, Alan Smithee, like, that's a name that directors generally use when they want to distance themselves from a project.
Yeah,
You would
directors,
say, like,
writers.
mostly-
you've got a few
mostly
writing
directors.
credits, but mostly directors, most famously directors.
Yeah.
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 Do you have any other interesting examples of works we may have seen that are directed by this Alan Smithee? I
Well-
said, looking at the list.
Looking at the list, no, there's nothing that would interest anyone here. I guess that does it for us this week.
All right. Tune in next time.
Tune in next time. Oh, wait, no. What about Twilight Zone the movie?
Oh shit, yeah. No, if we're talking about Alan Smithee, we got to bring that up. That was just a horrible mess.
Yeah.
So one of the co-directors or second assistant directors on the film, who worked on one of the segments, because Twilight Zone movie was it cut into different segments and stuff like that.
It was an anthology film.
Yeah.
The second assistant director, Anderson House, the part of the anthology that he was working on, there was a little bit of an accident there, and a helicopter kind of crashed into Vic Morrow and two kids.
Oh, wow. That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
like the footage is out there and it is like legitimately horrible.
Jeez.
So he's like, this is a tragedy that's gonna leave a black mark on my record. I don't want my name.
Yeah,
to
it's
be a
real
part of it."
bad for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially that was pretty much his thought process, was I don't want to be associated with such a tragedy. I don't want it to kill my career. Not like, oh god, this is a horrible thing that happened to other people. He's like, oh, this could threaten my livelihood.
Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds like a nice guy.
That's a human for you.
Yep. Human being.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's, I think, one of the only cases where it's tragedy that's kind of
Yeah,
caused
and not the quality of the film, because...
Yeah. Well,
The
the
most-
whoa.
The most common kind of reasoning that the most directors give when they say, hey, no, say this is Alan Smithee, not me, is editing.
Badly edited. Yeah.
Editing and reshoots.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad, that was directed by Alan Smithee.
Oh, David Ayer wishes it was.
No. It was directed by Alan Smithee, and he decided to take a pseudonym to protect himself, so he called himself David Ayer.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get a bad name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies is actually on this list.
Yeah?
Hellraiser Bloodline.
That is actually the highest grossing Alan Smithee movie.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wasn't that also an editing thing where it was sort of recut and reshoots?
It was reshot, and the original director was like, "This is not my vision anymore. I don't want to be attached."
It's a Hellraiser. Is just out of just pure curiosity, is there actually some sort of director's cut of that film, or?
I don't actually know. The only cut
I would be so curious with one of these to see like a director's cut
versus the studio released Alan Smithee cut.
I would absolutely love to see something like that. I doubt it, because it's obviously not such a big deal, but that would be really interesting to see.
So the weirdest one on here for me is a movie by the name of Women Wanted.
Women Wanted, yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
The last one to officially get an Alan Smithee name to it. Because there's one much later, Old 37, but Alan Smithee was retired in 2000, and this movie came out in 2000. it is starring Kiefer Sutherland,
Oh yeah.
but also directed by Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, this movie's shit. I want to distance myself from it, but he's still like it's focused on him.
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I guess he could
Yeah.
always just sort of in casual conversation blame the director. And if the person then were to just very casually look up the director, they would see like Alan Smithee. Oh yeah, he did the Twilight Zone movie, didn't he? Like yeah, he should have retired ages ago. I think for me the most interesting one is Burn Hollywood Burn.
Yes.
only
We've
because
got to
it-
speak about Burn Hollywood.
Yeah.
Burn.
If only because Eric Idle's in it for some godforsaken reason, and
I think that was during his like cocaine binge phase
probably
that he
I don't
signed
know.
up to that.
But I
project.
mean, the thing is that the pitch for the film is good, and I mean, the film is essentially about Alan Smithee. You know,
Yeah.
it's about that whole thing, and that it ends up being a victim to it. That just feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy, really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it definitely wasn't for any kind of PR stunt that the director then went and said, "Oh no, I'm not happy with the editing. Make it Alan Smithee."
Yeah, no, it's bad. I saw it. I went through a binge phase where I watched just everything the Pythons have ever done, and
Yeah.
that was one of the days I wish I had back.
For those of you listening that have no idea what this is about, Dion, tell us a little bit more about Burn Hollywood Burn, an Alan Smithee film directed by Alan Smithee.
It's very bad.
Great review, Dion.
It's appalling. It's just so sad seeing someone you love as much as Eric Idle in something like this, which is just obviously this complete. It's not like The Room where it's like funny bad.
It's just bad.
It's just really bad and ill-conceived, and I mean this was years and years and years ago. I'd have to go and watch it. I was probably 18 or 19 at the time, so I don't remember much.
That was at least one time unit ago.
Yeah. So I do not remember the details particularly, but I do remember not enjoying it at all, and then looking at this when we brought up discussing Alan Smithee and going and seeing like, oh, okay, this is actually one of those films. I'm not surprised. I think it's got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst reviewed films of all time.
Yes, it is.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that one was just given to Alan Smithee as a gimmick. It's not like the director was upset with his work and wanted it to be Alan Smithee.
What?
Like, no, the director legitimately didn't distance himself from the film to distance himself from the film.
Oh,
He
really?
distanced himself from it just so the film could have the director of Alan Smithee.
Oh, really? Because from what I remember reading, like it was just a train smash all around, and the director did want to distance himself.
Yeah.
It's basically come out that it was all just a facade to get Alan Smithee as the director.
Well,
for
I mean that also makes sense, but I guess in retrospect, it was probably a really good PR stunt to do because you do want to distance yourself from that movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it just worked out really well for Arthur Hitler. Sorry, Hiller.
Oh, all right, there we go. I just wanted to say like Arthur. What kind of a name is that? Okay, so Hiller. All right,
Okay.
got it.
I mean, what else has Alan Smithee done?
Well, most of his stuff that he's done is, well, not most of it, but a lot of the stuff that he's done is edits of cinematically released movies that have been edited for TV or edited for in-flight
Like
movies. Like Dune.
David Lynch's Dune.
Oh yeah,
Most
tell me
famously.
about this.
Yeah, so David Lynch's Dune, released theatrically, David Lynch's name attached,
Yeah.
with the soundtrack by Vangelis
Yes.
as well,
Mm-hmm.
as Vangelis did Blade Runner. And not gonna lie, I do love me that version of Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a really, really, really faithful adaptation in my mind.
I have fond memories. Yeah.
I have fond memories of it too. The TV cut, however,
Mm-hmm.
is credited to Alan Smithee because they changed basically everything about it.
Yeah, Lynch didn't want his name anywhere on it to the point where he even changed the writing credit from
Yes.
his name to Judas Booth.
Yes.
As a
Oh.
mixture of Judas Iscariot and John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
they kind of stabbed him in the back, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I thought it was Michael Judas and Photo Booth, but
Yes.
We
That, those could also work. But no, but that's interesting. I can't say that I've seen the TV cut, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be hard to get a hold of. Impossible legally.
Impossible legally. You're not going to get
yeah,
it.
no, we would never use alternate means to acquire.
No, to watch that, I would use alternate means. It must be streaming somewhere.
We would never. Wink, wink. Perhaps it's on Netflix. Netflix South Africa. Wink, wink. You just don't know because you're in America.
No, actually, you know where I think you might be able to find it is on archive.org.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
possibly.
Internet
hell.
Archive. Or in hell, where it likely belongs.
Like
But I should actually check the Internet Archive to see if it's there, because I am actually fascinated by. I want to see how much they changed that David Lynch was like. No.
So did they just use is it all original footage, like from the film, like the film just recut for TV, or did they make film new stuff?
It's supposed to be the film just recut for TV.
Yeah.
But with, from what I understand, footage that was shot.
Yeah.
That wasn't used.
That wasn't in the theatrical cut added in.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are others, like pivotal scenes that Lynch cut because of, I believe there was also some censorship involved, because when you're cutting a movie for TV, notoriously in the late 80s and early 90s,
Yeah.
I mean, what is John McClane's line? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That was cut into so many different versions, and there's YouTube videos showing the different
All the different
ones,
versions that's cut
and some
into.
of them are hilarious. It's one of them was yippee-ki-yay, mother turkey, or something like that.
Oh, what's great is with those lines, because Samuel L. Jackson is super sweary,
Yes.
and
In
he likes to
everything
go
and in life.
and record his own re-recorded lines.
Yes.
He doesn't let anyone else go in and do it. So he's like, I've had enough of these Monday to Friday snakes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess writers not the biggest fan of directors, and directors not the biggest fan of editors. Yeah, because interesting enough, Martin Becker as well was not a fan of the airplane version of Meet Joe Black.
There was an airplane version?
Yeah,
Well,
all
a lot of
movies that
films
are released on...
a lot of films get released in sort of truncated form on airplanes.
Why though? I mean, you're already spending so much time on the plane.
Yeah.
Well, might as well just watch the whole theatrical release.
I think it's because kids can get to it rather
Yeah.
easily. There's no age verification process.
It's like those Reader's Digest condensed novels.
Oh,
Like
okay.
those things, it's the equivalent of that, and it's always just going to be a bad idea.
Yeah, they cut out a whole bunch of the violence, and if there's anything that deals with
Yeah,
any
which
kind of
means like the
plain-
orchestra is just woodwinds and brass, basically, some percussion.
So what you're saying is, if an airplane cut of something like Mad Max Fury Road exists, is literally a 10-minute
15
Road
minutes.
Runner cartoon.
Well, you can actually ask Marius about that, because the first time he watched it was Airplane.
Oh, no, it's not
No. He got the. I actually spoke to him about it,
Okay.
and when he was watching it, it was, from the way he described it, it seemed like the full theatrical cut.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's actually not that much, like... There's
Not
really
anymore.
gore or...
Yeah, there's no gore, but they tend to cut out crashes and accidents and stuff like that.
Oh,
Especially
why?
if
On an
they-
aeroplane?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything basically that involves that kind of shit, they cut out of the
I'd like to
airplane
watch
version.
Con Air on an airplane.
But it begs the question, what did they cut out of Meet Joe Black? Other than maybe the car hitting Brad Pitt in the beginning?
Yeah.
Which ruins the movie.
Yeah.
It literally, if you don't show that one scene, the whole the
It
rest of
doesn't
the
make
movie
sense at all,
doesn't make
actually,
a
yeah.
lick of sense.
It's very possible that they might just have been, back in the day, more arbitrary time limits. Like 90 minutes, sort of like a film cut for an airplane has to be 90 minutes.
Yeah, some kind of time regulation.
Because I mean, Meet Joe Black was a while ago, so it might
98.
Yeah, so I mean, it might just be a case of like early sort of in-flight entertainment had very stringent time limits or something. So I mean,
Entirely
if you have to cut it down to 90 minutes, then you are going to lose a bunch of stuff.
Which begs the question, why didn't more directors distance themselves from the airplane cuts?
I think because they just don't care. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's I don't think you really consider it. I think maybe it's just one of those things that he specifically saw and said like, "Wow, this is terrible," and then made a big deal out of it.
Well, like took a flight, watched it, and was like, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, nobody cares about the airplane cut, and I think they are less stringent these days
with
than
the time
they used to
limits.
be with the time. And it is easier to verify and get past age verification these days.
It is, but it was just really strange when I flew up to China to watch Deadpool without any violence.
Oh wow!
How though?
Like that is a strange movie, a very strange movie. It's like half of the movie's gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what was the runtime?
The run was like 10 minutes.
Well, okay, so now we know, and that it's a name used to distance oneself from a project, right?
Yeah,
So
it's used.
So let's spitball on this. What movies do we think, like, directors secretly wish they could stow Alan Smithee up?
Suicide Squad.
Well, we did rag on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
definitely
if
Suicide Squad.
only because Suicide Squad seems to have been so heavily meddled with.
Heavily meddled with, and it really stands out among David Ayer's works.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
not
a
like
blemish there.
like I want to say Batman v Superman, but I mean
no,
it's
Snyder's
not
proud of
like
that.
that's the thing
Yeah.
is like that's his vision.
Yes.
Like he I'm sure
As
some of the
misguided
actors
as it may be, that was his vision.
I'm sure some of the actors feel that way, but yeah. I'm sure what's his name? Jesse Eisenberg.
Ooh, who has been cut from Justice League?
Yes, that makes me so happy. He's the worst.
He is
He
just
is the worst.
appalling. Yeah. No, he's
Like
so
I
bad.
enjoyed him in one movie, but now he's done this, and I hate him.
Yeah.
Which movie
Forever.
was that where you
Yeah.
enjoyed him in?
In Zombieland.
Oh, I forgot he was in
Actually, no,
Zombieland.
two
Yeah.
movies: Zombieland and Adventureland.
Yeah.
If only they called it Justice League Land.
Yeah.
Damn it. Missed opportunity.
Actually, he was pretty good in The Social Network as well.
Haven't seen it yet.
But that
though.
was
Yeah.
more the fact that he was working with, an Aaron Sorkin script directed by David Fincher.
Yeah.
You know,
Alright.
and David Fincher will I'm pretty sure he physically beat Jesse Eisenberg to
Yeah,
get
he's
the right performance.
just a spiritual successor to Stanley Kubrick.
Well, speaking
throw you off
of
this
David
building.
Fincher, I mean,
Yeah.
he's historically not a fan of what happened with Alien 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he wishes he could have Alan Smithee that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'd say
definitely.
that's definitely. I remember enjoying it initially, and then I rewatched it a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Because I got a part of the box set. And
Is that the one with all the Alien and Predator and AVP movies?
No, just the
Just
the 3 Alien movies. 3 looks for signs of dissent.
No, they're only 3.
Nope. Good. All right. Cool. Yeah.
I thought there were 2.5 Alien movies.
Yeah.
The Aliens, and the first, I think, half of Alien 3 was
No, that's a whole movie.
Yeah,
That's a whole movie.
they only filmed the first half, and then
They only
everyone
Alien 3
died.
is just a lot shorter. That's all.
Alien,
Alien 3 is real
yeah,
short.
David Fincher just directed the 20, 30, 40 minutes of movie.
Yeah.
And that's the entirety of Alien 3.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that it doesn't resolve itself. It just sort of
But I like that.
very
I like that,
open-ended,
that
but that's
mystery.
so Fincher.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something Alien Covenant could have learned from. Like less explanation.
Yeah. And
less,
just more mystery.
Just more mystery. Yeah. So I think
Yeah, and I think like the most obvious one that we could point out where a director would pay so much money to be able to have the name of Alan Smithee is Josh Trank's Fantastic. Like if he
think a
could
lot of
distance
people-
himself from Fantastic.
I think
because the
whoever
thing is,
was
he
in
blamed the
charge.
studios so much and he blamed
Yeah.
the editing so much that if he could, he would Alan Smithee the shit out of
Yeah,
that.
he would have, but then again, I don't think the studio would let him, out of just sort of out of spite, be like, no, you did mess up
Yeah.
just as much as we did. You're not gonna walk away from this
Yeah.
scot-free. Like, I could just
Yeah.
imagine
Dis-
Fox
dis-
execs
yeah,
being that vindictive.
distributed by Alan Smithee.
Yeah.
Just every credit on the movie is just Alan
Alan
Smith
Smithee.
catering.
20th Century Fox just like crossed out and Alan Smithee written in
Just
crayon.
like in red crayon.
Crafts and Services, Alan Smithee.
Josh Trank, played by Alan Smithee. Jamie Bell, played by Alan Smithee.
I think also whoever was in charge of continuity after the reshoots and getting the wigs right, getting the hair and the wigs right.
man.
Whoever was in charge of that, I
Too
mean that's
soon.
yeah.
Too soon.
It's always going to be too soon.
Like there are a few that if I were the director of, I'd be like, no, not me. What?
No, what?
No?
What are you talking about?
No,
Not me.
And a lot of them are
Like?
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, gotta say, because Warner Brothers can eat a bag of dicks.
I think any Zack Snyder film, other than his
Yeah.
first 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Wait, Watchmen, 300.
Dawn of the
Dawn
Dead.
of the
Dawn of
Dead.
the Dead. I said 3 or 4.
Okay, cool. 3. I thought you were going to include Sucker Punch, and I was going to drive this mic stand down your throat.
No, Sucker Punch was pretty. It was. But it wasn't.
No. Sucker Punch was terrible and was sort of punctuated by very short, very cool music videos.
Yes.
And the rest
Yeah.
just took place in an asylum, which I think was sort of a meta commentary on the feelings of the audience.
Why does he
Noises.
keep on making movies?
Because
honestly.
of connections and money, so much money. These films make lots of money.
I'm honestly surprised that. No, I'm not surprised. I think David S. Goyer is just Alan Smithee if he were a writer.
Yes.
The thing about David S. Goyer is that he just consistently makes so much money. I read yesterday, I don't know if it's true, but apparently he wrote he wrote scripts for Black Ops and Black Ops 2,
Yes.
Yeah.
apparently,
He
which
did.
I didn't know. That again, I mean, those things make billions.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
massive runaway success hits.
For those of you who aren't video game fans, Dion's referring to Call of Duty, Black Ops 1 and 2, the video games.
Oh, the COD Blops.
Yes.
Yeah,
The COD
COD
Blops.
And I mean, nobody really plays those things for the stories, but and the stories are just deeply offensive on every level for
Yeah,
the most
but still,
part.
then they've got like David Goyer money.
That's the thing is, yeah, if you're someone looking to hire David Goyer and your purpose is to make a film that's going to make money, you're going to look at this guy's resume and you're not even going to look at the names of the stuff. You're just going to look at box office receipts
Yeah.
and game sales for the stuff that he's written and worked on, and it's just like you are going to give him
It's
the
a
job.
numbers game.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game.
It is a
Yeah.
numbers
with
game.
with David S. Goyer. Like consistently, critically panned.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had an assistant writing credit or a writing credit on Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Consistently and critically.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't work if he has some kind of writing credit on The Dark Knight. But The Dark Knight is not a perfect movie, and we'll get to
Wait,
that
Wait,
in one of these
isn't
episodes.
Dark Knight the one where all the police officers go underground?
No, that's
No,
Dark
that's Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought maybe I could just ascribe that one to Goyer and call it a day. Maybe that was his
Well-
idea.
Well, let's take a critical look at The Dark Knight, find the worst parts in it, and just be like, that was Goyer.
I wasn't terribly fond of the Joker. Can I blame him for that? No, but lots of people love
Yeah,
that.
lots of people love that. I
And
want to
it's
blame
kind,
him
it's
for
kind
the.
of like frowned upon because Heath
Oh yeah,
Ledger-
that's the thing is you're not allowed to sacred
You're
cow.
not allowed to.
A dead cow is a sacred cow. Yeah,
A dead cow's a sacred cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's an old saying I came up with.
It's from the
Very
old
good.
country.
From the old country.
From the old country.
Yeah.
No, I think what could be attributed to him, what I didn't like about it was the treatment of Two-Face at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not really trying to save Two-Face so much.
Oh yeah, and then Batman can't tell like when his face is turned the
Scary face! No, I think you're confusing this with an internet video.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, no, but essentially the transition of that at the end there into The Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
where Batman, I guess, just kills Harvey Dent and then hides away for a couple of years with some kind of mysterious knee injury that he never got.
Yeah,
But that's all problems with the Rises, so...
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, okay, I'm just gonna bring this up. That fall, that quote unquote killed Harvey Dent, was not a fatal height. It was under 20 feet. right?
So do you think as they were falling, Batman broke his neck?
Well, the
No,
thing
I don't
is,
think he. I
and
don't think
also
it's like
remember, like under 20 feet, you can die from a 6-foot fall if you,
you
land
can.
right.
You
Yeah,
can,
there was that
but
unlucky dude who fell out of a 6-story window and survived. And to show his friends how it happened, he like fell inwards from it and landed funny on his neck and died.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is depressing. But no, what I'm saying is like in terms of, for me personally, in terms of visual storytelling,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
look like that fall would have killed him.
No.
The way it was framed and everything, it looked like, oh, he just fell down. Because like in my mind, the whole thing is they actually locked Harvey Dent up in Arkham Asylum, like Two-Face, off screen, and he's still actually physically alive. But they symbolically killed Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
To
And
keep
then,
it
and then
here.
when they reboot it,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's.
Couple of years from
I'm
now.
pretty sure that was maybe one of the ideas that they were throwing around for a sequel to The Dark Knight. That
Yeah.
Two-Face would return and ruin all the good work that Harvey Dent had done.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't get Aaron Eckhart back, and then they just threw
And
Bane
then
in
Christopher
there.
Nolan just climbed up his own arse and got
Yeah.
cozy.
Exactly. Like I'm pretty sure that may have been.
yeah.
Like I can't
That's
confirm.
a
it,
no,
I
no.
prove
I
it,
mean,
but
that's a super good theory. I
Yeah.
like that.
Ah,
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
You're right. You're right though. Like it's not just about like physically what's possible and impossible. It is about visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Well, I mean, there is actually a Batman director who would want to Smithee his project. Would want to distance himself from
Right,
it.
Tim Burton, right? Because of the new Alice in Wonderland. Or am I not following your train of thought at all?
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up the fact that before filming the Batman movies, Tim Burton said comic books were stupid and he'd never make a comic book movie.
Well, he didn't. Alan Smithee did.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Joel Schumacher. He wants
Oh
to-
yeah, brother of Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, they're related. No, he wants to distance himself, or would love to distance himself from Nipple Batman.
Does he though? Because like he's.
He actually as
He
far as
spe-
I've seen,
no, he
like
speaks about it quite ruefully now.
Yeah.
Apparently, not
Well,
as much as Clooney does. Clooney wishes he could Smithee that
Yeah,
acting.
because I've actually seen interviews with him. Well, one specifically where he was sort of fairly offensive about it, where he was sort of
And
defending.
he,
Well,
he,
not
he,
so
ki- he
much
kind of
offensive,
hops from one side to the other.
Yeah.
To me, it always seems like he's like, look, I'm sorry you guys didn't like it. You know, I really am, but still, it was the kind of movie that I wanted to make. You know, I
Yeah.
wanted to make it a fun sort of thing. You know, have it a bit more campy.
Yeah, he's a
Because-
fence hopper, because I've read things of him saying like, nah.
Because I mean, that's one thing you can say of all of Joel Schumacher's movies. He does love camp.
Yeah,
Like he's a fan of camp. So
Yeah.
he is.
the fact that he would make a campy Batman makes sense.
Yeah.
I just think releasing it in 1997.
Yeah,
98 around there,
somewhere
like
around
the
there.
late 90s was not ready for a camp Batman.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everyone had just sort of embraced darker Batman.
Yeah.
Right, so that's gonna do it for our informative little mini-sode.
Minisode bite size.
It's like a webisode.
Except on the internet.
Yes, so it's an internetisode.
Internet webisode.
Internet a webinetisode.
Just
A
like
mini
that.
internet or whatever mebisode.
That's the one.
Darkwing
Got it.
Duck.
All right.
Alright. So, movie recommendations for this week. Lego Ninjago and Kingsman Golden Circle. Neither of them really as good as their predecessors, but still a fun time at the cinema.
Go enjoy yourselves.
Well, my streaming thing is easy. If you want to see something that is not directed by Alan Smithee, recently, about 3 weeks ago from now, both the first and second phase of Marvel Cinematic Universe has come to Netflix South Africa.
For now, because
For
Disney, as we will discuss in a future podcast, Disney is pulling all their content from
Disney's
Netflix.
pulling all the content, so check it while you can. I think
You've got another year or so to do it.
Yeah, and then the other recommendation I have is actually something very interesting. There is on Netflix now a Lady Gaga documentary, 5'2".
5'2"?
5'2",
What's
because
that
she's
about?
5'2". It's a Lady Gaga documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she's always been very cagey about giving interviews and everything, and this is just sort of no. Actually, scratch that. Scratch that. Go
Yeah.
watch American Vandal.
American Vandal. What?
American Vandal.
Tell us more about American
So
Vandal.
American
Marcus.
Vandal is fucking brilliant because it subverts everything you want. So everybody's watched Making a Murderer and these sort of crime procedurals where it's like it starts with this person may have committed a crime. Let's follow the story and see where it ends up, you know?
Yeah.
So picture that.
I'm picturing it.
Okay. And that's a good show. People love watching that, right? It's addictive.
Yeah.
So how do you parody it? Simple. You do the exact same thing. The only difference is you set it in a high school and the crime is spray painting dicks on cars.
Yeah.
And they treat it so seriously. You actually start believing,
That
like,
sounds amazing.
shit, did this kid actually commit a murder? And it's just, no. He just literally spray painted dicks on teachers' cars. And you find yourself thinking, like, after the first couple of episodes, like, why am I watching this? But you're still compelled to keep watching because they just present it so well.
Nice.
It's well worth a watch. It's possibly one of the best Netflix shows that's come in a while.
Wow.
Like completely originally produced new thing.
Nice.
It's probably gonna go up there with BoJack Horseman and Stranger Things
Nice.
as like the best Netflix things.
All right.
My recommendations
So
are
Marvel and American Vandal.
nice. My recommendations are more warnings than recommendations.
I
It
love
was
warnings.
out this week on DVD, Blu-ray, streaming, digital, 4K, and all that nonsense is Transformers: The Last Night and Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Both in the same week.
Do not watch them.
How
The
is my
apocalypse coming.
How is my wallet going to handle not renting both of those?
I don't know, Marcus. I just don't know.
God, that's a bad week for movie releases.
That is.
Well,
In fairness, they're
releases.
successive weeks. They're successive.
that's
weeks.
successive.
Yeah.
Okay.
One's last week, one's this week.
Ugh.
But
So
You
just,
know, it's a
if
horrible one-two
if you
punch
were
there.
thinking, if you were thinking of having a movie night, my recommendation is to not include either of those.
and just go
But,
watch a whole bunch of Marvel movies on Netflix.
Rough Night came out recently on home release, did it not?
Yes, it did. He said, scrolling through a blank page on his cell phone. Yeah, no, Rough Night came out recently, and Rough Night was a really good time. It was one of those films I thought was going to be just not very good. And then I saw Movie Bob's review. My wife and I weren't doing anything. We thought, let's pop by the cinema. He seemed to enjoy it, and we had a really good time. It's a really fun movie. Just don't have excessively high expectations. And Kate McKinnon is hilarious as always.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Right. That's it from us today.
Woohoo!
Woo! We're about to leave for some crabbies, but first, plugs. Thanks to Jared Thiessen for the amazing artwork. You can find a link to his portfolio down below. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to see blank Twitter pages all the time at Jason Musicanth or at JMusicanth. You can follow us as the CineBeards on Twitter, on Facebook. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and Podiant.
Goodness
Hopefully.
me.
I left it.
We're everywhere.
Edit. Yeah. Marcus, anything you wanna?
I'm going to
Yeah,
run
that's
through
right.
this really quickly. Follow me on Twitter at Viking of Science or
Nice.
my YouTube's channel Twitter at Escape from Mount Backlog. You can also find me on YouTube at Escape from Mount Backlog, where I play a new game every week. We're currently busy with Horror Month. I hope when this goes out, it might be. We can see the future.
What are you talking about, Marcus? This was recorded yesterday.
Yes, of course. You can. You can also find my YouTube channel's Facebook page on Facebook.
You can follow me on Twitter if you also like just seeing a whole bunch of old archived tweets with no new ones and no interactions at Dion from Hidden One, because some other idiot with a stupid name took it first. And you can follow me on SoundCloud and on YouTube, and you can add me as a friend on Facebook, and I probably won't respond. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Crabby time.
Woohoo!
Bye.